coming together at the same time. Another question. This is something that teachers ask all the time. Are they learning? I can tell you this is actually much harder than the other. Who here is a teacher? Is this not like the hardest goddamn thing to do? Like, it's impossible. And the main mechanism for doing this is a little thing called assessments. Assessments are typically things called quantitative assessments. That would be a test, a pop quiz, an essay with a grade on it. So that way you give them like a multiple choice, and if they go asleep in the middle or otherwise screwed up, they don't know the material. Very concrete way of doing things. It's really, really hard though to make sure that kids understood what you taught them. My game, and what I think games are exceptional at, a basic strength of games is that they can provide formative assessment, which is very different. Formative assessment means, I got a little light bulb going off, because it means that you demonstrate acquisition of knowledge. In my game, given that the way to make the most money is to keep the world poor, if you win my game or otherwise do well, you fundamentally understand the theory behind it. You have to have understood the theory because it's the same thing as the strategy. No further assessment is needed. If you win the game, you've got it. It's not quantifiable though, so there's a few catches to that. Whoa, where did my slides go? I lost some slides. Oh no. I'm going to tell you a little bit about curriculum then. I'm going to go over this briefly. Who knows what curriculum is? That is the most I've seen in a room. That's cool. Curriculum is a very important thing if you want to talk about educational games in classrooms. You can think of it as somewhere between a college syllabus and a legal document. It's the sort of, I think that's fair enough. It's the sort of thing, it's what makes, you know how everyone learned algebra all at the same time, no matter what school you were in? That's curriculum, making sure that everyone does what they're supposed to do. That's its good side. The bad side is curriculum is also what's making it mandatory in certain states to say that dinosaurs and humans were living at the same time 5,000 years ago. That's also curriculum. Now curriculum, you can think, I'm going to flip back to my Venn diagram up here. Curriculum you can think of as a whole fourth category, operating like outside of those bubbles. It's an entirely separate thing. God knows it's not fun most of the time. It often has nothing to do with learning or enriching souls. But if you were to have a game that is for classrooms, you must adhere to the curriculum. If you were to ask a teacher, this is the first question, does it adhere to the curriculum? And there's some problems with that because curriculum is getting increasingly based on quantitative assessments. We want numbers and statistics and hard facts. That means that games have an increasingly less of a chance of being in classrooms and still being quality. You can make a game that spits out a discrete number that you can use to grade kids, but in the end all that is a glorified pop quiz, which I think is incredibly boring, and I would much rather play Call of Duty 19 or whatever. So if you want to make, if developers are trying to make games for classrooms, it's sort of a double-edged sword. On one hand, the game is in the classroom, which is super cool because kids are going to play it. On the other hand, the game's in the classroom, and then you got to deal with curriculum, which is its own beast. So I have not dealt with curriculum. Yes.
There's 9 Call of Duties.
Maybe you know of 9 Call of Duties. I know of 19.
There were 9 Call of Duties yesterday, but then they needed another.
Yeah, I came up with a few more while I was coming here. I came up with Call of Duty 10 and 11, and yeah, I keep coming up with more Call of Duty. The idea for my Call of Duties is a guy with a gun that kills people.
I think that'll sell.
Yeah, I think it was fine actually. I'm looking forward to it. So, wow, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, so bottom line, I have never tried to make a game that adheres to school curriculum, so I don't have a real answer to that, except to say that it is a critical piece of this puzzle, and there's certain downsides to it. The other question...
speaking about the differences between formative assessment and quantitative assessment, I just came out of a talk about using games to extract information from experts who know how to do thing X, thing Y, thing Z, and then data mining the crap out of them. You mentioned going to play Call of Duty right after that. That is one of the things that they data mine the crap out of. They measure where someone is, what their vector is, when they're reloading, after how many shots. All this data,
Yep.
while they're doing the formative learning, and the people playing have no idea. There are all these statistics and quantitative data being drawn. And if you were to track an individual at the time, you could turn the formative learning and the process of playing the game into a sort of quantitative assessment. I'm not advocating it, I'm just saying there is that ability.
You could, and there is a time and place for big data in educational games and being able to discretely measure why people do something. I think that's part of what education is, and another key part of it is 5 years from now, they're doing something like, oh, this, and like subconsciously thinking about their experience from To the Moon. And that's something that data is powerful, but it is not everything.
Yeah, and it's the perspective of the administration who needs the quantitative assessment versus the learner. But that's
and that's why I'm stressing the formative assessment more, because we are in such a quantitative mindset already. I want to talk about serious games very quickly. Serious games is an up-and-coming genre of games with meaningful messages attached to them. I don't really like serious games. I find them boring. I think God knows my game is not serious. It's very sarcastic. What I'm actually looking for is awesome games. This is what I really want. This is the bottom line. I want awesome games. I don't want edutainment. I don't want gamification. I don't want serious games. I don't want some other didactic crap. I want awesome games. This is what we should all be talking about. The pieces are there. Everything's there to varying degrees. Almost every single game involves learning. Many games are fun, and some games set out to enrich souls. I'm going to get to you in a moment. I want to wrap this up and then take questions. Very, very few games treat all this as the same thing. I'm going to get to you in a minute. You can think of it this way, though. To have an educational game is intrinsically cool. It's just better than something that you could do otherwise. I want to play such a game. I would love to do this. I would rather play a game that consumes my attention. I would rather do this, not Star Fox. I would rather play Star Fox, but any other game. I would rather do this. I want it to consume my attention while making me wiser. That's amazing. That would be like the best game. The bottom line of all this is this: educational games should never ever be thought of as compromises on either basic design sensibilities or pedagogical content. Rather, they should be thought of as opportunities, and they are opportunities to craft something that is truly profound. Thank you. repeat